Openfort is an open source wallet infrastructure solution that helps developers ship products with no custodial wallets. It's designed to be vertically integrated so you don't have to take care of how you manage the private key on how do you send transactions to the blockchain. We decided to do everything around account abstraction as well as all the SDKs and client-side infrastructure that you would need to make this happen on device. To get started, I want to show you a very quick rundown on the dashboard. Whenever you sign up, you will see this first glimpse of your project. You'll see the different transactions that you're creating, how much it cost, the time that it took, active wallets, etc. You can click on any of these grid boxes that would lead you to the analytics of more specific and granular status of each. You have analytics on transactions, wallets, and soon users as well. Each transaction has its own page that allows you to actually debug and get full control and monitoring of the transaction parameters. So you can see what chain happened, how much gas was used, the timeline, as well as any different logs or webhooks that were sent from this transaction. Then each transaction can utilize a gas policy, which is basically a way to define how you want the transaction to be sponsored. You can actually set them up for free on the dashboard, but also customize it as much as you want by either using external paymasters, sponsor with your own native tokens if you have a chain, or just changing the fee sponsorship strategy to make it ERC20. Everything it's basically fully controllable and fully customizable from the dashboard. Then you have the contract library where you can input the different contracts that you want your application and users to interact with. To do so, you can just simply paste your address contract and the custom API will be populated automatically. Then you can take the API ID of this contract and use it to craft a transaction. Lastly, we have backend wallets, which are custodial wallets that are meant to help you operationally run your application. You can do treasury wallets, scroll wallets, minting wallets, you name it. This is literally backend server configuration that allows you to send transactions or automatize events as you will. Then moving to the account management, we see a more granular overview of each one of the users that has authenticated within your application. Then we have the account management system, where you can actually see all the users that use your application. You can check the login methods that they use, the wallets, the transactions, and the wallet permissions that they have associated with this. We're going to run a demo later on to show you how this all links up. We then have the different wallets table, so you can actually go through the different available wallets that are interacting with your application. Then we have a section to actually customize the authentication providers. So you can decide if you want, within your application to let users authenticate as an anonymous, via email, via any social provider that we can link, and as well, if you want to use any third-party authentication instead of using the Openfort built-in authentication. This is first-class citizen support within Openfort. Then we have webhooks and events. It basically allows you to receive real-time notifications on the things that happen within your project. This could be transactions being sent, transactions being confirmed, etc. The API keys. And lastly, we have the project settings where you can invite the rest of the team members as well as subscribe to the plan that you want to go live with. The cool thing here is that you don't need to contact with Openfort to actually go live anymore. You can just change the subscription plan and choose your preferred subscription plan here. Also, if you want to refill your gas tank, you can do this here by just inputting the amount that you want to refill the gas tank with and just confirm and pay via Stripe. Okay, that's very cool. So now we can actually go through a demo and see how everything links up together. This playground Openfort is basically linked to this dashboard that we have here on the embedded signer. And so now if let's say I want to log in with an imaginary email, I'm gonna sign up. Okay, I'm just gonna create a wallet here. Say I'm gonna do it in a manual mode by inputting a PIN of myself. Great, now I'm connected. And so basically, if I were to go to my dashboard here, on the user section, we will see there's a new user created. So this is a user I just created called John plus 211. And you can see in here that I just created an EOA that it's actually recovered with password, which is the password that I just created. And then you can also see that it has a smart account associated with this deployed on Polygon, but it's still not active, right? And so the first thing to make it active would be just to interact with the contract and say I want to mint a token in this case. right? So I just mint a token. If I were to go back here and I did reload again, we would see that actually, there's been a transaction that just happened, and now the account is also live, means the account is deployed, right? And so I can actually go through like the transaction intent and get a more granular overview, as we mentioned before, on like the different logs of the transaction, the timeline, etc., etc. Very cool. Okay, now, another very cool thing that we can do here is basically having multiple wallets in different chains, right? So let's say that I want to actually switch to base, right? Now that I'm switched to base, I actually want to create a new password, a new wallet, that in this case, I want the wallet to be automatic recovery, which means that there is no input from my user. Now I just created a wallet. So if I were to go back to the same player that we interacted before, I think it was this one. No, not this one. So now if I wanted to go back and interact with this new player that we interacted before, which is like John plus 211, and I reload this, we should see now that we have more wallets created here and wallets in different chains as well, right? So we can actually see that first I switch chains. So there's a pre-deployed account on base, and then I actually created a new wallet, right? And so we have a new wallet actually created as well here. And one of the cool things here as well is that this user view allows you to see permissions that you created. So say I want to create permission, let's say on Polygon Amoy, since it seems that I don't have a policy gas created for base. But if I were to create a session key with a policy already created on Polygon Amoy, which in this case I already have, and I to reload the user view again, I would actually see that this user has now active permission, right? And so this cool active permission, it allows me to interact 100 times with wide address, and it's valid for 1 day. This is actually very cool because now with this permission, what I can actually do is like I can go back and sign any contract, interact with any on-chain primitive by signing with this session key directly, which is extremely cool. Great. Now we've seen how it all ties up together. So we have, to sum it up, a platform that allows you to create non-custodial wallets, as many as you want, in as many platforms as you want, and then make these wallets interact seamlessly within a blockchain. It allows you to do that by either exporting or using the Openfort auth or external signers, and then interacting with native smart accounts from Openfort, but also external accounts like a delegated contract from Kali, like Uniswap on Calibor. Then lastly, you would use the sponsor policies to actually smooth out the interactions that could happen from this user by creating, chain specific policies for each one. That's it. If you have any other questions, please let me know. But this is a quick summary up of like what you can today do with Openfort dashboard. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next one.